Covalent bond. Bond parameters. A covalent bond is characterized by the following parameters. 1. Bond energy. We already learned how a covalent bond is formed. In the formation of a covalent bond involves a decrease in the potential energy of the system. Fill in the blank question. For example, if two hydrogen atoms forms a bond, hydrogen, single bond hydrogen, a lot of energy is released. Therefore, at present the potential energy of this covalent bond will be less than the individual energies of these two hydrogen atoms. That is the meaning. This means that the potential energy of a molecule is less than the sum of the energies of the isolated constituent atom. That means before forming the covalent bond, whatever be the potential energy of hydrogen atom, this hydrogen is add and find out that will be more than once it is a compound is formed, because it loses energy. A lot of energy is liberated. Hence, the same amount of energy will be required to break the covalent bond. Whatever be the energy required is that the same energy, if it is supplied only, we can break the covalent bond. Hence, the same amount of energy will be required to break the covalent bond, to free the atoms constituting the molecule. For example, during the formation of a mole of hydrogen molecule, 436.3 kilojoules of energy is liberated. That means when these two hydrogen atoms forms a bond, 436.3 kilojoules of energy is liberated. Therefore, if you supply this much of energy only, we can remove this into two hydrogen atom. Therefore, the breaking of hydrogen and hydrogen bond in one mole of hydrogen will be require the same amount of energy, 436.3 kilojoules per mole. This energy is known as bond energy, and it can be defined as the amount of energy required to break one mole of bond of the same kind to separate the bonded atoms in the gaseous state is called the bond energy. Definition is an important point. The magnitude of the bond energy is a measure of the strength of the bond. It depends upon the following two factors. Here it is a one fill in the blank question. The magnitude of the bond energy is the measure of the strength of the bond. 1. Size of the atoms. Larger the size of the atoms involved in the bond formation, lesser is the extent of overlapping, and therefore lesser is the bond energy. If the atoms are large, the overlapping will be very small. Therefore, only lesser amount of energy is released. Therefore, fill in the blank question. Multiplicity of the bond. The magnitude of the bond energy increases with the multiplicity of bond. The bond energy of a double bond is much higher, fill in the blank question, than a single bond between the same atom. That means the energy liberated, the magnitude of the bond energy increases with the multiplicity of the bond. If a double bond is formed, that is having more energy is liberated than a single bond. Bond length. The minimum distance between the nuclei of the bonded atoms in a molecule is known as the bond length. It may be defined as follows. The average distance between the centers of the nuclei of two bonded atoms in a molecule is termed as the bond length. The bond length depends upon the following factors. Size of the atom. Bond length increases with increase in the size of the atoms. Greater the size of the bonded atoms, greater is the bond length. Again, fill in the blank question. 2. Multiplicity of the bond. Bond length decreases with the increase in the multiplicity of the bond. Just opposite. If there is a double bond, the bond length is less. If there is a single bond, compared to this double bond, the bond length is more for this single bond. Therefore, bond length decreases with increase in the multiplicity of the bond. The bond length of the double bond is smaller than the single bond between the same atom. Last one, bond angle. Pauli's theory suggests that the covalent bonds are directional in nature and are oriented in specific directions in space. Therefore, definite angle exists between the two covalent bonds present in a molecule. That angle is termed as bond angle. These are the parameters.